Look how the stars turn on. Look how the stars turn on. When I hold you close. When I hold you close. When I hold you close. The stars turn on.
Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 14 of The Press Box, in association with The Unit. We said on last week's show that it has been an unbelievable week, but things got even madder after that when Noel King departed as Dundalk manager after just 25 days in charge last Wednesday on health grounds. So while the club go in search of what would be their third man at the helm so far this season, there was some really good news on the field because on Friday, John Mountney's 91st minute strike earned Dundalk just their second win of the season against Shamrock Rovers at Oriel Park. So on this week's show, we're going to look back on all of that and ahead to this Friday's trip to face Galway at Eamonn Deacy Park. As I kind of said to you off air, even when I seen that we were going to be talking about Noel King, I felt he was gone about 6 weeks. So it's kind of even weird talking about it because I think everybody's nearly been talked out of it. But yeah, obviously we just released the pod and it was the next afternoon that all the stuff kind of came out about Noel. And I suppose, you know, he stepped down for medical reasons. And I don't know about you, but you know, I don't know if anybody else kind of seen that it was coming. But ultimately, it's probably for the best for everybody. I think if he wasn't fit to do it, there's no point in him continuing in a health point of view. And also for the club, they probably need the right man in charge. So probably sad that it only lasted 25 days in that sense. But I think the right decision had probably been made on both sides. And also for this time, I think kind of the club need to maybe get the finger out and get the right man in charge. Because I know right after the game on Friday, you were saying to me that even Burnsy's banned now for the game, so I don't even know who'd be on the dugout if we don't have a manager now next Friday.
Yeah, it's look, first and foremost, it's sad for Noel and his family. You don't see anyone dealing with medical issues. It's obviously a private matter, so I don't want to say too much more on it, but in the short period he was there, he was very sound to deal with and all that, and a difficult environment for him to come in because I think, you know, no one's ever going to be 100% backing in terms of he's your choice for a job or whatever, but I think he was the complete opposite, where I don't think anyone, and that's no fault of his own, obviously, that he was in that position, but look, I think it probably gives the club an opportunity to put in place a process that maybe should have been there the first time and maybe get an appointment because, and look, we'll deal with it in more detail later on, but you see the likes of the performance on Friday. And I think there is something there to build on. Like, you know, it's back to 3 points at the bottom and all that. It's far from a lost cause, particularly if you keep playing like that. Look, there's elements to be improved upon, and don't get me wrong that but like Noel King will be, I think he's 68 in September, and even if it had been a huge success and he had to come in and we went on a winning run, I don't think you can claim it to be a sort of long-term appointment. And you know, I'm not a Liverpool fan, for example, but I was looking at some of the Jurgen Klopp sort of coverage and tributes and that over the weekend. Obviously, he finished up as Liverpool manager, and you know, there's a strong parallel between the two clubs in that you know, working class areas. You know, the Dundalk is built on the likes of the railways, the breweries, the cigarette factories, the shoe factories. Okay, some of them gone now, but that's the background of this club and this town, and you know, it's probably massively overachieved in many regards over several decades throughout its history, and it is something special when you get it right. You know, I think as Jim Murphy famously said in his book, it's probably been never too far from crisis as well throughout its history. But I think, with all the upheaval over a decade or whatever, it would be great to get someone in now who's there for. And look, we talk about it in more detail, but like I sort of do, and not because it's him, but you look at what Pats are doing, and I know there's a gamble to it as well. But there's Stephen Kenny in there for 5 years. This is someone who's going to see a direction, probably buy into what the club's all about, and I'd love to see that. We probably haven't had that to a certain extent since. I would even say Vinnie Pert, in terms of throwing themselves massively into it. Like Stephen O'Donnell obviously got what the club was about, and this is no criticism of him, just purely where he was in life, etc. With young kids and living not in the area and stuff like that, he probably wasn't able to do go and attend a rock underage presentation on a Thursday night or whatever. But now that we are in this position, I think that has to be sort of on my wish list anyway. Get that person in who's going to oversee, a rejuvenation. I think Liam Byrne spoke very well actually on Friday after the game, where he said that this club needs not just a manager on the field but off it as well. Someone who's going to be that sort of face of the club, for want of a better term, and yeah, hopefully now they go out and get that person and get it right. It's not look. You could point to anyone. We could have got Stephen Kenny back. It doesn't mean he's going to have the same impact again as he had the first time. There's no such thing as a sure thing, but yeah, I think get it right this time, I think, would be the probably the nicest way of putting it.
And it's hard to kind of say because you know yourself probably more than most the kind of nonsense that goes around. But like we're recording this on Tuesday night, like I wouldn't be shocked to hear that a manager has been appointed by Wednesday. So again, we could just be the unlucky podcast in that sense as well. In regarding, again, you hear the likes of the Barracloughs and stuff, but like, and I know we were talking about Liam Buckley last week as an assistant and stuff, but like, is there any other names that you're even hearing flattered about or anything for it, or is it kind of the similar thing, or could just be pulled out of the blue, like kind of the King appointment in that sense?
So on this, like, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't heard the Barraclough stuff. I know the club were looking to make an appointment this week, just purely from the reason that maybe the Liam Byrne suspension has forced their hand a little bit. I think, because as it stands, you do have to wonder who's in the dugout on Friday. It probably will be Dave Mackey with another, even if it's just someone in as a temporary measure for one night only, let's say. But that's not an ideal situation either. So maybe that's sort of forcing their hand to get something in quicker. Barraclough does seem, by all accounts, to be the front runner, but I've sort of purposely not delved into this as much as I normally would, because I mean, I just had a fill of it there for the last week or so, where I think you got a flavour of it with the Brian Gartland news breaking, and then digging on the Liam Buckley thing, who was offered the role alongside sort of Noel King, and there was maybe one or two others in sort of talks as well, and you put so much, like, it's amazing. People don't see it, but when news breaks, it's, I mean, the phone explodes. To get information, you might have to make 10 phone calls. You're back and forth to people, you're teasing things out. It's just so much time, and to be honest with you, I just had me fill of it, and I said, right, look, I'm not going to influence the managerial cert, good, bad, or indifferent. Let this one maybe sort of happen. If it was a betting man, and it's probably the least I've looked into a Dundalk story in a very long time, I would probably say Barraclough is the front runner. But I would also said he was a front runner pre Noel King getting it. So, along with maybe Stephen Kenny. But look, I do think they want to make an appointment soon. Look, obviously, it's a bit like buying a house. You want the keys as soon as possible. It doesn't always happen when you want it to happen. But it wouldn't surprise me if there was an announcement. We're recording this Tuesday night. It was an announcement maybe Wednesday or maybe even Thursday. But if there's not, I'd certainly expect it before the month's out, and we're 10 days away from that at this stage. So I think it will be sooner rather than later. There is a few others maybe on the periphery, but I do think Ian Barraclough was, if there was a betting market, he'd be the hot favourite right now. But I will, preface that with say I didn't have the heart to go digging massively on it, because just the time and the Duck. This isn't a full-time gig for me, so it just takes over your life at times, and I just needed to get away from it for a few days. I had a few things, nothing bad, but a few personal matters in my life going on as well that, just couldn't devote the time to it. So, that's, I think, where it'll be, but you never know. You never know. I as I say, I wouldn't have picked Noel King from, a hat the last time. So, you can never say anything with great certainty, I suppose, under this ownership.
Right. So before we do look at the Rovers game, there's just a handful of questions that kind of didn't reference the next manager, but as always, they're brought to you by Malone Financial Insurances on Dublin Street. So on Twitter, Dundalk FC said, "Did Stephen Kenny ever lose 3 matches in a row at Dundalk?"
He never lost 3 league games in a row. There was 2 in a row in September 2013 and 2 in a row in August 2016. Post Bate, those was it Galway and Bray, and that did become 3 in a row, factoring in the Legia Warsaw defeat and the Viva. But I think he did say league matches. There was 3 in a row at the start of 2014. But that was 3 separate competitions: the Leinster Senior Cup against Pats, Stade Cup against Coleraine, and the 4-1 defeat to Drogheda on opening night. We did lose 4 in a row at the end of 2016, but 3 of those were in Europe: the defeat away to Zenit, the defeat at home to Alkmaar, and the defeat away to Maccabi, with obviously the FAI Cup defeat to Cork thrown in between. But no, I suppose to say he never actually lost 3 league matches in a row. So quite an achievement, actually, when you think back on it.
Very much so. Davey then said, "Is the League of Ireland on the verge of becoming massive? I've even noticed in work lads who are talking about results going on, etc. Maybe bringing an investor on board, increase prize money to Scottish levels, and kind of watch what happens." What are your thoughts?
It's certainly grown, and there's no denying that. When we're the dog focused, you'd like to see it grow a little more, in that we're one of the few who hasn't seen that sort of growth in attendances or whatever that maybe other clubs have. But it needs support, and you look, it's not just Oriel. I don't want to beat it up, but the facilities are still holding it back massively. Like, you look at clubs like, I suppose Bohemians are probably the prime example now, and I know they have got stadium plans, but I would even say they're somewhat inadequate now in terms of just pure numbers through the gate. Like, they're selling out every week. I think it's only going to 6.5. I think they could easily sell out 6.5, particularly for the Dublin derbies, of which there's, barring a massive collapse for many of the teams, there's going to be 4 Dublin clubs in the league every season. I see just today, actually, that there's kind of hope in the north of a stadium cash announcement in the coming days, where the clubs there are going to get support. And I think it probably needs that sort of backing at a government level to really kick it on to the next level. Obviously, look, as Davey said, if you can get a big investor or investors on board, if you it helps, increase prize money would help, but the FAI probably aren't in a position to do that again without support. So I do think it's massive. I know, and listen, with everything going on in Irish sporting life between, look, even Stephen Kenny's return to the League of Ireland last week was big news. I think, it did get overlooked that there was presentations by the likes of Will Clark to, a group of politicians on, our academy structures and their inadequacies. I think at some point, and look, this does have a knock-on effect for your national team, because you can't, it's not like when we were growing up and you could rely on the Liverpools and Man Uniteds and Arsenals, etc., to bring through your future internationals. They're going to be, breeded in the League of Ireland now, even at an underage level. So it needs that support. Dundalk put out a sort of wish list, for want of a better term, last year, and on it was more facilities in terms of just ground, because you've, I don't know how many teams using the one pitch in Oriel Park, so that's going to hold back, well, Dundalk in a local sense, but other clubs are in that boat too, and I think until it gets that sort of big government support, or big, maybe it doesn't come from government, but someone along those lines, I think it will always sort of struggle to really go to that next level. Although, take nothing away, that the growth of it and the rise in popularity, etc., in recent years has definitely been very much welcome. But I think to go to that next level, I think it needs that sort of from government. And I don't know. Look, you're welcome to give your views on that as well.
Yeah, 2 or 3 points on it. I think the government need to, and whichever government it will be, because there'll potentially be a change of government next election, which is probably be in November. So there could be a change of government, or there mightn't be. But whoever's in charge, yes, it should be a big topic for them. However, and as I said, when that whole $500 million thing came up and the FAI wanted X, Y, and Z and all this sort of stuff, they never went back to the government with stuff in finer detail. So they kind of just, threw something at people saying $500 million, I need 10 million for that, 10 million, like in very vague terms and stuff. So, and I know that people within government would be happy now to kind of lobby on that kind of stuff. And yet the FAI have just never brought it forward. So firstly, you're dead right that it can get, you can see the growth. You can see the growth in the talk, and like, fair enough, the Dundalk is a football town, but again, I have friends and family and people, whatever, all over the country or something, that would send you something about League of Ireland now. And now, sadly, it's a lot of it's been a bit Dundalk the last 2-3 weeks, going, what is going on up there? But like, more people are talking about it. So I think the FAI need to get their finger out and actually just put together a proper plan. But also, like, it is great to see the actual levels of attendance and desire for it. And I do think one of the reasons, and I'd be a massive Man United fan, but I think with the costs of potentially going over to see Man United, and without going down a rabbit hole as well, I do think the likes of the money going into football, the Man Cities of the world, etc., I think people, and including myself, have definitely fallen a bit out of love with the English game. It's a great level, and we all have an interest, and we all want to watch the best and stuff. But I do think there's definitely a bigger connection within this country to say, oh, we actually do have footballers, and we want to get behind them. And maybe it means more. And I think the finances of England actually has kind of diminished the support from Ireland, if I'm honest, for the team, for the counties or towns with League of Ireland clubs. And I think that's been a massive difference. I do think over the last 5 to 10 years, how England has developed really hasn't helped their game from our sense, because I think the cost have gone over, and I think people have just, it's not as real, it's not as raw. It's just very corporate and stuff. Whereas, to be fair, rightly or wrongly, whatever people think about the League of Ireland, there is atmosphere, there is great grounds, like that can be better, but there's people there that are like dedicated, and it's probably, like, to be fair, going to a League One championship game where it's real people. I think the Premier League has probably just lost a bit of a touch. But ultimately, I go back to my first point in the sense of the FAI need to get their finger out. We can't do anything. Nobody can talk about government have to do this or somebody has to do that. The FAI need to get a full plan in place. I don't know, they paid millions in consultancy fees and whatever through the years. Get somebody to do it. You know what I mean? Get it really written down. And I think any government will get behind this at this stage. I think everybody, it's clear to see that there's not enough academies, youth growing up, youth clubs even across the countries with proper coaching. And that's the difference. Again, I know there's been many articles over the last X amount of years that we've definitely less than 10 full-time professional coaches in this country not in the League of Ireland, and I think that just needs to increase as well. But ultimately, my final point on that is to go back to the first point to say that the FAI just need to get their finger out and actually get it sorted, because I think to answer his question, I think there is huge opportunity that the league will become massive and kind of more in the country, and the more television coverage and people are talking about it. But the only way it gets done is if the FAI do it properly, and at this stage it's kind of just up to them.
Yeah, no, I will say Euro 2028 for me, and granted it's still 4 years away, but you won't find that coming around. That was a massive missed chance, I think, because like they're bidding for these tournaments, and yet they're not like. Look, where will any football nation be in the next, say, 4 years? But like, if you take your Spains, your Germanys, etc., teams that you would expect to be thereabouts in terms of just at these events, they should be looking at like the likes of a Dundalk, an hour from 3 airports, I don't know, many seaports, etc. They should be looking at the likes of a Dundalk as a training base, where they can come here, even book out, because these guys have the facilities, book out the likes of a Ballymac or somewhere that has, a bit of privacy to it. Train in be it Oriel or DKIT or whatever, and travel to your matches, come back. And because of there's obvious benefits from hosting these things, but you have to put the infrastructure in place, and there's probably not enough of that to as it stands. And I know there's a break at the start of the Euros this year, but if that same schedule applies, like, there could be Euro matches in this country at the same night as League of Ireland matches. I'd hope that wouldn't be the case, but nothing would surprise you. But even if they flick a switch tomorrow, and I know 4 years is in theory a long time, but it's not. You look how long has the new Daily Mount been on the horizon, and it's still not started in any real way. Now, I'm sure it will happen, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think when you're going for these tournaments, like, you put the groundwork in to make it attractive. Okay, so just say Spain are based in Dundalk, right? They use it for the length of the tournament, be it 3-4 weeks or whatever. But the knock-on effect then is that there's a fantastic facility in North Loud, in wherever, Carlow, Donegal, wherever these teams set up camp, and that wasn't done. So it's been a bit half-assed the whole way through for me. Until there's and I know what you're saying about the FAI, but I do think government have a role to play in it too. But look, the FAI government is still massively under question, and I suppose, would you pump money into a basket case?
No,
probably not. So we could go on about that all night, but I do feel, for all the benefits that Euro 2028 will bring, and it's a long time away still, you're not really seen as like, I think back to tournaments like Euro 96 in England, and there was huge upgrades done to the stadia there in advance of that. Even new stadiums built, etc. For certain clubs. So it is a long way to go, and I know it's different levels, but will there be a legacy is what I want to know, and at this juncture, albeit 4 years out, you'd have to say no. It doesn't look like it, but we'll see.
Then lastly, Michael Shine said, was Craig disappointed or not with Rovers this time? That aside, very impressive win and Mountney clear man of the match. He even won the final clearance header in the 94th minute. Be great if Zach can get their loans extended. Was I disappointed with Rovers? I was disappointed with both teams, if I'm honest. We won and it was amazing. And honestly, even the feeling of watching that go in, I couldn't believe it. And it's been such a long time, so it was brilliant. However, like it wasn't an amazing performance. It wasn't like, and again, we got over the line, but I can't stand there like. Now, again, as I sent it on to you, I'm absolutely curse a lot. Leaving Chris on the town end, I was texting him literally just before in the 90th minute, and they obviously go on live straight after. And I can't remember the exact text, but it was something like, good luck talking about this sort of mess of a game or something like that. And then boom, Mountney scored. So it was an amazing finish.
Using their powers for good at
I
last.
should, yeah, I should do that more. But like I do remember just thinking.
Do you want to make a prediction 4-0 Galway or something while we're at it now?
But yeah, okay. But moving on, even to the goal, like I'm not going to stand here and say I'm confident of us going away to Galway away because we won. We won because, as I know, Michael slagging me and stuff.
Sorry, why are
think,
you talking about the Ducks? Excuse me. Why are you talking about the Duck? You weren't asking about the Duck. You were asking about Rovers.
Well, I'm having a conversation about both. But again, you know, when he's saying like, was I disappointed with Rovers? Like I was disappointed with both, and I think again, sometimes the league isn't as impressive, even some of the teams and the victories and different things. But like I do think a better team put us away on Friday. You know, I think there is things to work on, as you say, and like I still don't see us putting balls in the net, regardless. Like John Mountney, I don't know if he's right back or right midfield, whatever he was, but like he's not a striker,
left wing back, actually,
whatever he was, yeah. Like, but like exactly, so like you know, you don't see Luke Shaw scoring a lot of winners for United either. Like you know, it's
he doesn't play.
Well, neither did John. To be fair,
I think John's probably played more than Luke Shaw in the last sort of 12 months. But yeah, Luke Shaw's going to the Euros, essentially.
But like, and I think it was an amazing win, and it really, I have to say, the buzz that I got, I remember thinking, holy Jesus, we're back, like as in we won a game, and it felt so long, like, and it was amazing, and there's things to be worked on, and again, we're still going through a transition because we have a new manager that's going to come in, and maybe he's going to play a different formation, maybe he'll fancy, like I seen Mayo was back in, like he was out, I think under Garts, as far as I'm aware, and then he was in under Stevie and stuff. So like, so yeah, and that's just one example. So I'm kind of thinking there's a lot of chopping and changing there. Anyway, and that's only Mayo I'm referencing, but like, I don't know. Like again, I still think we're well up against it. Like anything can happen, and I think timing and everything and luck is huge. So we got the last minute winner, as Galway were scoring 2 last minute goals as well, and it goes from 8 points to 3 like that, which is amazing. But just say it didn't happen the other way and we drew and they won, or Galway didn't win and draw the 1, then we're bollocks. You know, we're 8 points behind going in with like, and then a momentum and stuff. Now, however, that can switch because we did win, but I'm definitely taking it like game by game. I can't turn around and be like, I'm ultimately confident. There has been some good performances, but like, I'm sure if there's a Burnley podcast, they've watched Burnley play well at times and do certain things well, but ultimately they went down. And that's my fear. So like, listen, we're playing Galway. I don't know, maybe we get something and hopefully we do. But again, I haven't seen any consistencies from this team, and we're still going through transition of managers to even predict anything, to think about a result. I'll watch it and we could win 4-0, lose 4-0 again. As I always say, I just don't know anything about what's going on anymore in Oregon. So, but I wouldn't have confidence that like
what a thing to admit when you host a podcast on the dock.
Yeah, but again, I think I'm one of thousands now at this stage that like
Yeah.
all nothing, like in that sense. Like,
But the
like
good
maybe-
news is after you writing off Burnley there, Vincent Kompany is about to be announced as Bayern Munich manager. So listen, every cloud is the silver lining in that. So uh, I think you're being slightly harsh, right? Like, and I know it's hard to separate it from the overall picture, but you're saying there a better team would have put us away. They're the 4-in-a-row champions.
they also had won
Like,
like one in
what
five or
I mean,
six
what do you
games. They
want?
weren't in form. They weren't in form. There's not a lot of great teams in
They
the
went out and
league
beat
in
they went
form.
out and beat they went out and beat Derry on Monday.
They did, and but
I
like,
like, they're not in form and they don't like commentatorial.
yeah.
It's 2 wins in their last 10 visits now, and one of them was
And they were
basically
poor. They were poor, like regardless of
yeah.
anything.
But I think did we let them play? Like like you can it's easy to say they were
That's
poor.
good defending. That's
Yeah,
you're
but like
banking on.
if you go through our team, like look, give credit where it's due. Like different people in man of the matches. I thought Zach Johnson was outstanding. Like he was my man of the match, right? But there was definitely calls for Doyle and Bradshaw in midfield to be man of the match. Boyle and Anna probably didn't put a foot wrong. Yeah, you
But
know,
this is
like
all more defensive performances. And again, sorry, don't
no,
take out
and
of context
listen,
what I'm saying. Yeah, like
goals, and is still a concern. But like you know, to
we did play
not
well at the
be
back. I accept that.
completely negative. Like it's six clean sheets at home in a row. The last time that was done was the start of the 2015 season. You know, under a Stephen Kenny team who, for me, I would still say our 2015 team was the best Dundalk team I seen. Only lost once domestically that season. I know 16 will probably be remembered a little bit fonder because of, you know, they got that win against Bate that the team in the year before didn't. But you know, it's shown a resilience. Yes, there's still more to come up front. We still only scored 3 goals at home this season. But so have Galway, ironically. So like, yeah, look, you know, you can't be down about it the whole time. So I know what you're saying. That, yeah, there was a potential
Not.
8-point gap
I don't
there, but
personally.
it
I
didn't.
don't care. But I'm saying I'm not turning around and saying, "Oh, the great things ahead against the Galway game." We could go out and get pumped, and that's all I'm saying. I'm saying, well,
No, and listen,
no
our away
consistency.
form,
We're bottom of the
in
table for a
general,
reason,
yeah, but our away form in general is deplorable, right? They know
and
that.
we're away to go. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but at some point, like, if you're going to get yourself out of this mess, at some point something has to change, and maybe, and listen, maybe we reflect on it, and I don't think you can look. Say we go to Galway and lose 3-0. I obviously hope we don't, but say we do, I don't think you can say the Rovers' performance was a blip, because if you, but there's definitely a concern, but there was a concern all through the Stephen O'Donnell era, even the year we were competing for the title about our away form. Like, we won 3 games in Dublin under his watch, and 2 of them were against UCD. And this was when there was 5 teams in Dublin in the league. So, like,
All these
yes,
factors are going into the point I'm making. That
yeah,
it's
but
like,
yeah, no, but like, what sort of was the, you know, what those, and like we got to Europe under Stephen O'Donnell as well. Like the home form was the sort of, you know, what held that up. And we're starting to show, like, I don't think anyone's looking forward to coming to Oria right now, because it's become a difficult place. Like, literally the last 2 visitors there are Shells and Rovers. And for my money, were either of them classics? Absolutely not. But if it was a boxing fight or whatever, Dundalk edge it on points in both occasions, right? We've taken 4 points from it. Yes, you go away to Waterford, and you can't ignore that. You can't ignore that. But there was also this turmoil going on as well. The boys went out on Friday, right? And they have to back it up now. That is the challenge. They have to back it up. But if we're in a situation where within, potentially by the time even people are listening to this, we could have a new manager in place. And whoever that is, say it's Ian Barraclough, say it's someone else, you're looking at the most recent performance and saying, I have something to work with here. because yeah, look, I 100% we need to show more sort of clinicalness up top or whatever, without question. But when you keep clean sheets, when you're difficult to break down, well, at least you're not losing games, you know. And
Yeah, but was the Waterford game not right before Rovers?
I think the confidence, no, yeah, but the confidence again is fragile, right? And listen, players are human too. Like, I haven't met a Dundalk fan who wasn't questioning Noel King, right? So if you're working under Noel King, and they're never going to say this publicly, are you saying what the hell is going on here? And when, like, we actually, like, okay, we conceded a really bad goal after about 97 seconds or something in Waterford. But after that, right, and we weathered a bit of a storm, we were a better team for the first half. We got a really good equaliser. Okay, didn't really create a whole pile after that, but we were definitely the better team. Give up a poor enough goal just before half time, another one just after into the second half, and it's over because we never believed we could come back again or that we could get another goal or whatever. And yes, the confidence is fragile, but if you want a shot in the arm, and I'm not saying one result solves everything, it doesn't, but if you want a boost, you know, go
Well,
out and
it's a
beat the
tough.
champions.
It's a tough, and they did. But what I'm saying is, I'm
But
talking
Shamrock Rovers had
Galway.
one shot on target against us, right? So yeah, you can
Rovers
talk
are in
about
terrible
form, and
form. Like, they're in terrible form. So like, and
they're
that, and
third
that
in they're third in the table and still the bookies' favourites for the league. So like, I'm not going to defend their form, or whatever, but like, they were bringing off, like, their three substitutes the other night were Farrugia, McAniff, and Burke.
yeah.
You know, like, you're not talking like Jack Byrne back starting a game. Okay, it was his first start back, but I think he'd played 3 or 4 off the bench before that. Like, they have injury problems, but we also did it without Robbie Benson, without Scott High, without Kuhn Ustenring, probably our first 3 choice, Dara Keane as well, 4 midfielders. Robbie Mahan hasn't played in a month.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the context is needs to be discussed here. I think it was a great win. Great win. I think there's things that could have been worked on performance. The lads did very well. I think we were excellent defensively. And we got a win, and it was amazing. My point I'm making is that we're going away to Galway, who are, if you go to the last 10 games, are our second form team in the league. And you were saying about repeating that, like, as in we have to build on that. And I'm saying, if we go places like this, and yes, we did get a great goal with Mountney, but like with shots and attacking options, I still see us struggling in that sense because I just don't see where all these goals are going to come from. And yes, our defending has absolutely tightened up. There's a lot less messing and stuff, but ultimately goals win you games. And I think we're not going to keep clean sheets every game. It was a great performance against Shamrock Rovers. And you're absolutely correct when you reference a few guys, especially to give Doyle his credit, because I've been a huge critic of his over the last while. And he did play very well. I think Bradshaw, or Johnson even, Mayo, guys, like, there's lots of guys, like, you can reference them all. And I think everybody did well. But that's a grindy performance. I think to get out of this, we need to do more. Now, possibly with the way things gone, like, can we get out of this come ninth? But I think it can be a struggle without goals. That's just my fear. I just think we're not in any way a creative team. We don't get that many chances. We, Cammy and Gullen, like, you need guys that at up top anyway. I need one of them to be getting minimum 10, and I don't see either of them getting that. And unless it gets split around the group.
There's a lot of clubs in this. So, like, in many ways, and I get what you're saying, but like, in many ways, Galway are the blueprint of what we need to become.
Yeah.
So,
no,
like we have now taken, after the other night, we've played the exact same number of games at home. We have taken a point more at home than Galway. Now, what Galway have is the second best away record in the league, but at home, like us, they've scored 3 goals and have conceded 5. Right, so they're just hard to beat. Right, the best, I think, 9 clean sheets from 16 matches or whatever. But we actually, like, if you take out that Sligo game, which was like, you have to say it was a bit of an anomaly because we haven't been that porous at the back, certainly at home, since. Like, it's not like we're giving up loads of chances at Oriel. It's not like we are struggling, but so we're Galway struggling for goals. Like, Stephen Walsh is their, ace marksman. He has the same number of goals as Jamie Gullen.
Yeah.
Like, and listen, is it perfect? But what I'm saying is, if you can become that away from home, and that's what we haven't been able to do. We've actually scored double the amount of goals away, 6, than we have at home. But the problem is we've shipped 16 on our travels, 4 in 2 matches in Derry and Waterford, and there've been shocking goals given away on the road, etc. But if you can, I thought, to be fair to, like, I think Liam Burns deserves a lot of credit for the other day, because it was a mad week. He had to lift it.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely,
there was
absolutely, yeah.
definite doubts over who was doing what in terms of, before, was it Noel King, was it Brian Garton, was it Liam Burns? There was no doubt it was Liam. Now, albeit assisted by, Dave Mackey was on the bench, other members of the backroom staff definitely stepped up. But like, Liam Burns was a defender himself, a double winner with a very good Bows team. And changed the system, went with 3 centre halves, matched Rovers, and frustrated the life out of them. And yeah, okay, we nabbed the one in the last minute, but I think, when the champions come to town, you take a point. Like, and in a way, I would take a 0-0 right now in Galway, and I'll tell you why. Because it would show we can keep a clean sheet away from home, which we haven't done yet. So, it's about little things, and it's about building that little bit of momentum. But, like, all of a sudden, and you're right, sometimes there's turning points, sliding doors moments, whatever you want to call it. We could have been 8 points behind on Friday, but now it's back to 3, and all of a sudden, you have the boost of that. You have potentially a new manager boost coming in, and you're saying, we can get out of this. And, like, I spoke to Zach Johnson after the game, and he made the point that they're not even looking at Drogheda. They're just looking even above that. You look at Sligo's form at the moment, is alarming. They're only 6 points away. So that's, again, easier said than done, but that's 2 wins. And we still have to play them twice more. So it's without taking into account other results, you can, your destiny's still very much in your own hands. I guess we need to see it that it's more than one night, etc. But we are a bit of a Galway in many respects, in that at home we're damn hard to score against, because no one's done it since 4th of March. And okay, we'd like to see more goals, but if you could get that in away from home, start nicking your few. And, like, okay, they didn't go in, but Paul Doyle had a couple of efforts the other night that weren't that far away, and trying these things. I think if you can get Robbie Benson back, he was obviously suspended. He does add a goal threat. The windows aren't that far away either. Can you add an attack? Look, a lot of teams are going to be looking for that, but like, I'd be nearly looking at Sligo more as the achievable target now than Drogheda, because they've lost Max Mata. They could potentially lose Ed McGinty. They could potentially lose Ellis Chapman. Now, we have question marks hanging over some of our loan signs as well. I did ask Zach Johnson after the game about his status. He doesn't know. He said he's not for or against staying. That might be somewhat out of his control, but I think he'd be a huge loss. I think Zach Bradshaw would be a huge loss. We've potentially already lost Scott High. I presume we've already lost Kieran McGuckin of our loanees. So there's definitely 2 slots there to fill. You wouldn't want it to be 4, but we still need to plan for that. But, like, I think there's enough fight shown, and I go back to what I said, and I'm not trying, like, there's not an outstanding team in this league. I'm absolutely convinced of that. So, I wouldn't fear anyone. It's not like, when Dundalk and Cork, etc., were in their pomp, it was almost damage limitation to some extent. I don't think it's like that with any team now. You know, Shelbourne are top of the league still, had a really good win on Monday night against Pats. But, you know, they're not a team who's going to go out and beat anyone 3 or 4-0. It's just not their nature. So you're always in a game against them, albeit they're well organised and that. You know what? We were well organised the other night. And I think, yeah, get a new manager in who can build on that. I think, you know, Liam Burns is still part of the setup. I think you'd like to think the new man coming in would still want him there, and he's definitely shown his worth. Build on that, and you know what? We're not down yet. Far, far from it.
No, absolutely not. But again, like everything, we have to. For me, I want to see a run of games to.
Yeah, but you have to start somewhere. Like, no, you listen. It's like anything. It's like, you know, you were out golfing the weekend, and you know you have to par the first if you're going to par the ball. So it's, you know, you start with 1 and try and make it 2, and easier said than done, of course, in golf, but easier said than done in football as well. But like, you know, you have to start with that first one, and if that was to be a turning point, and look, only time will tell whether it was a one-off random good win or something that we can look back on and say, geez, that was the moment that we got lift off. But certainly, you know, you're going to Galway now with a bit more belief. And look, not that I'd wish it on us, but even if we go there and lose, if Derry coming next, and you're not fearing them.
No,
you know, certainly not with our home form. Like, you know, so, you know, look, yes, goals are, you know, at a premium for us, but become hard to beat first. Like, that's what Galway are. They're not prolific goal scorers. They've only scored 11. We've only scored 9. But what they are is damn hard to score against. As I say, 9 clean sheets. I think only 2 teams have scored twice against them. I think of their last 8, they lost to Bows on the 1st of April. Of their last 8, I think they've won 3 and drawn 5. So even when they're not maybe winning, they're still, you know, the points tally's adding up. And look, ironically, so I think they're 3 points behind Shamrock Rovers with 2 games in hand or something like that.
They're in Europe. Well,
yeah, well, 4th, yeah, but so the European teams have all played 18, and now at this stage, but everyone else has played 16. So I think in theory, if Galway, and I don't even know who their games in hand are against, but if Galway win their games in hand, they're level with Derry in 2nd, and that'd be outstanding for them. I like Galway and all the rest, but as a first division team, if I was a first division team coming up, I'm just saying stay up.
Yeah.
You know, anything extra after that's gravy. They're well on. I don't think anyone expects Galway to go down.
No, definitely not.
You know, so that's like, in many ways we need to become that sort of Galway. Yeah, they don't have a man that's going to score 12 goals this season probably either. But what they will do is make it damn hard to beat them, and they'll nick wins like they did in Drogheda, like they're going to do, you know, throughout the year. And look, Eamonn Deacy Park, no one will appreciate going there, and no one will like them coming to their ground either. But if it keeps them up, if it gets them to Europe, you know, you're all on that train if you're a Galway fan.
Absolutely. And listen, for the record, I hope we do win. I'm just conscious of the fact that I want to see it now. I want us to build, and I want us to really go and start picking up points. And I think we've had a few good performances and stuff. So I'm kind of just at the stage of, like, not even a discussion of, oh, we can, like, I just need to see it because I just don't know what's going to come. You know, that's kind of where I'm at. But anyway, we're gonna go into our ad from our sponsor, the unit. But right after it, actually, we're gonna have a quick discussion about something cool that's actually coming up with the unit that we're kind of partnering up with them in the next kind of week or two. So before we do go into that, here is the ad from our sponsor, the unit.
Today's episode is powered by the unit, experts in building innovative products for the betting, iGaming and sports industries. They're the brains behind building innovative products tailored for those who love the game as much as we do. From software that powers up the betting world to platforms that enhance how we engage with our favourite sports, the Unit is leading the charge. The Unit, a winning team that reminds me of the Kenny era Dundalk and their consistency in results. Proud sponsors of the Press Box podcast. Learn more at theunit.dev.
Yeah, so look, I'll take this just because I had to make a phone call just before we come on air just to double check everything about this. But delighted to say we're gonna, I've said fair play to the guys in the unit. Paddy Casey in particular have been great supporters of the podcast now for 2 years, and it was kind of always muted. We do something with them, a bit fun and a bit of crack, and it's finally going to happen, I think now. And so on June the 4th, not that, I think it's only 2 weeks away. We're going to be down with the guys, and we're going to record a podcast from their offices, and hopefully catch up with them a bit on the day. But we're going to have a few interesting guests lined up as well for the show. So it promises to be interesting. I'm not fully sure of all the details yet, whether people will be able to attend or not. Bear with us on that, but I just wanted to get approval maybe to go with some of the first guests. So delighted to say, I suppose we'll go with the maybe the low key one first, with all due respect to him. But delighted to say we're going to have Steve McDonnell, obviously ex Dundalk and now doing really well in management in the north, in for a chat. And I suppose this is probably the interesting one that would have loved to have done maybe before now, but but delighted to say we're going to have Jim Magilton down for a chat. Obviously, fair play to Jim, just to give him credit. He great Irish Cup win recently. I think it's fair to say he had a rocky period at the Dundalk, but certainly it'll be an interesting discussion. And look, we'll reach out to you before then to get your questions in and all that. I'm sure there'll be plenty for him, but yeah, definitely one I'm looking forward to anyway. And just want to again thank the unit for that. But I suppose let you have your say in it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's a step forward for the pod. I know that the boys will be recording it and stuff, so like it'll look well in different ways. And I think I think it'll be a good chat with Stevie. And again, I think both of them are obviously now managing up north, and it's great to get insights in different bits and bobs, but also their thoughts on their time. And listen, we can kind of go back and forth about Jim, and there's some positives and some negatives, and lots of people would have some issues with him in that sense, or would like to know their thought or his answer to some questions and stuff. And this is where I think this is an opportunity that people do get to. Now, hopefully it won't be like 7 million questions, but in the sense that we can get a few out to him. But again, credit to him. He doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to sit down with us and go through his time at Dundalk. And there is a lot of negatives, let's be honest. There is a lot of question marks over certain things. So yeah, it'll be great fun. Again, it'll be done normal times and stuff. So hopefully, again, it'll be similarly out Wednesday morning and all. But kind of as you said, we kind of don't know really what's going on, like in the sense of the recordings and different things and timings. But that's the general gist, yeah. So again, we will. It's the 4th of June, anyway. We're going to get Jim on and Stevie. So as I said, we'll have more details. If we don't know if a few people can come in and kind of have a seat and get involved in the conversation as well and have a bit of crack with it. But we'll be chatting to Paddy and the guys in the unit between now and then and kind of sort something out. But and also actually, because we for that as well, for people, we've our own gear again from Player Fit, so we want to try give away something on that night as well. We've got a jacket and a hoodie and stuff as well, so we hopefully do lots of bits on that night. But again, unless you do, I have no more information on that, so we're kind of just rolling the dice and kind of
it was literally because it's been very let's say it's not been well organized, and that's much our fault. It's ending. I think everyone's been pretty busy, to be fair. But I just was like, geez, that's only 2 weeks away. We better maybe say something if we're going to at all. So just to give a wee bit of notice of it. But I'd be lying if I said I knew any more than what I just said there. There could be more in the night. There could be, I don't know, but we'll hopefully get more information ahead of next week and fill you in then. But yeah, something to look forward to, something a bit different. Just with work schedules and everything, we probably don't get enough guests on the show. That's one thing I'd probably like to do a bit more of. But when you're recording it, it's currently 11:20 on a Tuesday night. It's hard to ask someone to do that. So, but yeah, look, hopefully it'll be a good show and yeah, take the heat off us a little bit. I think it's the day after we play Stephen Kenny St. Pat's as well. So yeah,
Good times.
plenty to discuss.
So knowing that it is 11:20, we will try to wrap this up for people.
But it's not 11:20 for anyone listening to this.
True,
by the
actually,
way.
yeah.
Keep going.
It could be. The potential trust meeting. So I was chatting to Stephen Todd, who's kind of putting together. I know they're doing a Zoom call now on Wednesday, and I think Pingu brought it up on the town end last week. So again, if anybody is interested, just go to the kind of town end Twitter page, and there's a link there. So I know it's Wednesday at 8. Again, I know this podcast will literally only be out that morning. And you know, get involved if you want. To be fair, I haven't chatted to Stevie. I know they're very open to like ideas and talking to people. There's no fixed anything. This isn't this is what we're doing. And I know there has been other trusts previous. There's the current 1903 supporters club. So they're kind of trying to figure out something that maybe everybody wants. They want to be professional about it, but they want for tomorrow night, as far as I'm aware as well, Peter Halpin, the CEO, is going to be on the call as well. So that's kind of somebody from Dundalk will be there. But also for people that want to log on, let everybody have their say. Let's get so many ideas together, and maybe something comes of it, and maybe it doesn't. But this is just a conversation being facilitated in that sense by the lads to see kind of, is there something that we could do? Is there something that people want to get involved in? So I won't go into any more detail on that. The link is the only where I know there's WhatsApp links and stuff like that you can do, but I know it's on the town end's Twitter. So if you want the link, it's 8 p.m. on Wednesday. By the time most people probably even listen to this, that the meeting could be already over. But I think it could be an interesting conversation. And again, hopefully something comes of it. And if not, as I said, that's what tomorrow's going to be all about. The lads just want to kind of facilitate something to see what people think. And if they can make something, great. If not, we move on.
Yeah, and look, I know I probably was a bit skeptical about it last week and just how it works. And I did say I'd love to be proven wrong. I do think it's something necessary. I just I don't know if I'll make it myself Wednesday. Just at this moment in time, don't know if I'll be around or free at 8 o'clock on the night. But genuinely wish it well. I think it's something badly needed. It's something I felt is. I'd agree with a lot of Pingu. I haven't spoke to Stephen, but his sentiments on it, I just, again, probably a little weathered by events of recent years that maybe you have a bit of doubts over these things. But like again, I do say I'd love to be proven wrong and that it can take off and be successful over a long period of time. Just on the general area of fundraising, I do want to give a bit of an update on the golf. I know we sort of reference this a lot every week now at this stage, but it's pretty much just a month away now, 20th of June. So I think the fair play to the club. They got a really good sponsor in during the week in Dole, who I believe sort of starting to take shape now, but I think they're going to be providing the likes of smoothies and that on the day. There's going to be burgers. I think I'll run through the exact sponsors, but these are all being provided. The closer to time, I'll run through the sponsors, but there's going to be burgers on the 9th. I think we're very close to being sold out. I think as of tonight, there was maybe 3 tea times remaining. So the big push at the moment, if anyone would like to come on board, is for the tea and green sponsorships. And again, it's for the Dundalk FC Academy. So, going towards the future stars of the club, hopefully. And yeah, it promises to be a really good day. Again, I missed a meeting tonight. It just didn't make it, but so I'm not completely up to date on everything that's planned or whatever. But I know it's shaping up really well, and I would encourage everyone to get involved with whatever way they come. If they don't play golf or don't want to play golf, you'll still be welcome up, I'm sure, on the day. I think the presentation is going to take place in the clubhouse. There's, as far as I know, a couple of players going to be involved. I'm told the new manager might play, whoever that might be. I think Brian Ainscough is going to be there as well. So again, a chance to chat, and I think it coincides as well with England and Denmark in the Euros, followed by Spain and Italy as well. So to be a bit of something a bit of football to watch, because the Dundalk aren't actually in action that week as well. So all the details anywhere on dundalkfc.com if you want to sign up or support it in any way, or reach out to even myself if I can help in any way with any queries anyone has. Be only happy to do so. So yeah, that's coming up fairly soon.
So we got Vinnie Leonard also became the latest academy player to be capped by the Republic of Ireland when he made his debut for the men's 16 squad in the UEFA development tournament in Portugal last week. So fair play to Vinnie. As far as I'm aware, I've definitely seen him actually in the senior shirt, and he did actually stand out even with such a young age. Also, we've two of Dundalk FC's futsal even team players, Jamie Linden and Michal McCoy, have been named in the Republic of Ireland Down Syndrome futsal squad for this week's training camp win, which finishes with a game against the USA in Gormanstown now next Friday. And also, I know you were referencing that Aaron Callan passed away, and again, I wouldn't have known anything about the man, but I know you wanted to say something in that sense.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to pretend I knew Aaron very well, but obviously his granddad Francie is a Dundalk FC legend, part of the team that famously won in Zurich in '63, and I had reached out to Aaron, I'm going to say during COVID, to maybe do a piece with Francie, and he was really, really accommodating, really, really nice. I made sure to follow up and thank him for it, but I know he's a really good fan. I was just speaking to someone today actually about just when we mentioned the golf classic, and he had intended to play in it, and unfortunately now won't be able to, but I'm led to believe that 4-ball obviously to replace him, but I do believe that they intend to sort of still come along on the day and hopefully honour him by playing and supporting a club that he was obviously very passionate about. Aaron obviously ran at Callan's pub and in Church Street in recent years as well, so he'd be well known throughout Dundalk, and the Callan family obviously very well known throughout Dundalk. So just want to pass on my sympathies to all his family and friends. I know he was a particularly good friend of Kevin Mullen, who's a regular listener and supporter of the podcast as well. So, to all those who knew him and were close to him, I just want to pay our respects, and may he rest in peace. I believe he was 42, like far, far too young. And, the tragedy of it is, I suppose he leaves, a wife, children, etc. behind, and nothing we can say will make up for it, but very, very tragic. And I think he's been laid to rest on Friday. So anyway, to get the details on RIP.
Right, so before we do go, we're going to just bring an underage update again, always in association with Jerry McNamee Consultants. So I will leave that one with you, but
when you see the Bray goal score, I'm sure you'll thank me for doing this one. So I suppose while the Dundalk, yeah, Craig is checked out. While the Dundalk seniors were celebrating a stoppage time winner on Friday, there wasn't as much joy for the under-20s on Saturday, as Abdurraham Budarbala's 93rd minute goal earned Bray Wanderers a 3-2 victory over Mark Griffin's side at Ballycorus to leave Dundalk bottom of the under-20 table. Owen Kenny had opened the scoring for Dundalk on 24 minutes, but 2 goals either side of half-time had the Seagulls ahead before Dulta Honey equalised 10 minutes from the end. It looked at that point that the game would finish in a draw, but Bray grabbed a late winner to lift themselves off the bottom and leave Dundalk there. There was better news for the women's under-17s on Saturdays. They won 1-0 away to Longford Town, courtesy of Mina McConnell's goal just before the half-hour mark. The women's under-19s also had a 1-0 win over Bows on Sunday, courtesy of a 98-minute winner from Sarah Byrne at Oriel, while the men's under-17s had a 3-1 win over Drogheda, courtesy of goals from Sean Spate, Rhys O'Hare and Hugh Martin. This Saturday, the men's under-20s host Finn Harps at Oriel Park at 1:30. This will be followed by the women's under-17s, who host Shamrock Rovers at 5. Also on Saturday, the men's under-14s are taking part in a development weekend with fixtures lined up against Sligo Rovers, CK United and Club Kildare. And then finally on Sunday, the men's under-17s are away to Bray at 3.
Right, well, we will leave you there this week again from the press box. We're going to thank our main sponsors, the unit, as well as their sponsors, Player Fit, Jerry McNamee Consultants, Malone, and also Malone Financial Services. And again, if you're listening on YouTube, Mullins of the Castle and Road have kindly sponsored a YouTube page, so don't forget to kind of like our. If you are watching it, give it a like and subscribe as well. It'd be much appreciated. So we will leave it there, as it has been quite a week. I didn't even realise that our manager was gone only 7 days ago. So we're going to hope that we're talking about more positive results next week, and we'll chat to you then.
Look how the stars turn on.